time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Well done, young man!
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
We're the state of hockey, and I think that proves it, so.
Let's go.
Hello. Okay, hold on.
I've seen enough out of Cousins, Paul. Put him on ice.
Jet lag disadvantage.
I'm unlimited, Mr. Unlimited.
I think we have a very good mix right now. I mean, the morning show does well, comparatively speaking, especially given what it has to go against. Dubers and I have done well, knock on wood, for 4 years. Common and Hartman have done okay, and Barrero is, in my estimation, the primetime player on our station. And we're cultivating a couple of kids in Sludge and Lake, and, you know, we have the Vikings and maybe some things down the road, so I think we're strong right now.
And Peyton Manning takes the knee for the third straight time, and that should do it, folks. The final score of Super Bowl 41, the Colts 29, the Bears 17, and look at the pandemonium from the Indianapolis sideline down here in Miami. Colts spilling onto the field. Oh, and there we go, the Gatorade bath for Coach Tony Dungy, and it's Mike Doss supplying the Gatorade bath. Good to hear from Mike Doss tonight as the Colts are your Super Bowl 41 champions.
I always love that one.
Rosa, you don't know nothing.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Common Man program begins in 5, well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Ack, and act you and yours. Tomfoolery, skullduggery, nonstop nonsense, and cold dead rigor mortis laden. I'm Common, he's 10 to be. Countdown to the trade deadline. We are, was it 2 o'clock our time? So we're
2 o'clock.
Yeah, we're under 2 hours here for NBA trade deadline, and I couldn't sleep last night, tossing and turning, wondering who's going to get traded from where to here, from here to where to everywhere. Peek at the purple, 12:15. We will our final. What do we call it again?
NFL spread swing.
NFL spread swing will be at 1:30. Do this via telephone. The legendary Mark Rosen in studio. The Rosen for an hour after that, and then tomorrow. Have you lined up program password participants yet?
I only have one so far,
and
I still have to lock up a second.
And who is that person you've locked up?
Audra Martin.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
She's a great competitor, nice young lady. So good. And are you getting a lot of no's? I got paint that I need to watch drive, got some socks to sort, and they're delivering that boiling hot vat of asphalt.
I've received 4 or 5 no's, and I've received, I have 2 texts that are currently out that I've not gotten responses from.
When you get the no's, do you sense they don't want anything to do with me and you, or me more than you, I guess? Or do you think they have something? Are these people you've asked before?
Yes.
And they've played before?
Yes. There is a group of people that I've asked like 3 times. That's like my rule. Once I've asked you a 3rd time and you've said no, and also it's like it's a no, but it's not like they'd be like, hey, ask me another time. Like they don't add that to it. Once I've hit three no's, then I don't reach back out to you because now it's just obvious you don't want to play.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised you get yeses from like Muss and Fallness after the.
Well, Muss might be my next text.
Because they take a beating as far as they are the butt ends of a lot of chiding. And I think they understand, though, it's all good nature.
Yeah.
They know that.
We do it because we love them.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. We embrace them. Construction continues here at 1600 Utica Avenue South. This place it's almost like hollowed out. They've taken off a lot of the ceiling panels. Is that asbestos hanging from? Is that what that gray stuff is?
Kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, see, I don't know what asbestos looks like. I would think this building, when did they stop using asbestos? Doesn't even look like it should be called asbestos. It should be like asbestos, because that's the way it's spelled, right?
Huh?
But when did they stop using that as like, what did they use it for? Was it supposed to be sort of like insulation or something, or was it to soundproof? All I know is it just looks gnarly up there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's matter of fact, it's sort of the whole area kind of looks like places I used to live in when I was in my Haight-Ashbury days. Just there's really nothing to them. They're just particle board or what are they? No, sheetrock, and that's all there is to it. But it continues. I did notice, Tenneby, I was very skeptical when they said they were moving the performance studio to the other side of the building, and they were going to place it where the cafeteria is. And I said, well, that's pretty small. We're going to knock out that engineering wall. And I still thought, that's not a very big area. But you know what? As I look at it now, it's going to be intimate. It's bigger than a broom closet, but it's not like playing at U.S. Bank Arena either. But it'll be okay. So they continue on that, and we will. I know people are wanting to know when that work is completed, and I'll be taking pictures and showing you. It'll be fun. Let me ask you a question. So
yeah,
the Wolves have made not one but two trades. They weren't for Antetokounmpo or Harden, though. I got to admit, Tenneby, and I think most people probably are aware of this. I have no idea who these players are. One of them is, what are the two names of the one name I can't pronounce? I have no idea who the guy from the Bulls that apparently has some skills, right?
Yeah, he's a combo guard.
Combo guard.
He's a 3-and-D kind of guy.
What's his name again? Can you pronounce his name? Let's see which one.
I don't know if the pronunciation's correct. It's Ayo, Io, and then DOS.
Bam Ibanez. Didn't we have a guy wasn't there a guy called Bam Ibanez or something like that? We had once.
Yeah, he's a quality player.
Yeah, he's a quality player. The first person we got, Bulls traded Ayo Dosunmu to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And again, I don't know enough about, doing blockbuster trades are very difficult to do, as we found out, especially when you are a club that doesn't have a lot of money to deal with and you don't have any draft picks you can trade. I think you're always excited about a blockbuster, right? That, wow, we're going to get this guy or that guy. I think they might be better off with these trades. The other guy, and what's his name? He averages 2 points a game and a board and a half. He's just to take up roster space, right? I don't think they're expecting too much from him. The idea, we talked about it yesterday, the idea of getting Antetokounmpo sounds great, right? Pairing him up, the Greek freak, with Ant, and having two of the top 10 players in the NBA out on the floor. But what you would have to get to part with, to get something, you got to give something, right? And to give away, the rumors were you'd have to probably send Julius Randle, Naz Reid, and Jaden McDaniels packing.
Yeah.
Whether it was just a 2-team trade or a 3-team trade where it's the Wolves, just the Wolves and the Bucks, or it's the Wolves, Bucks, and the Pistons and the Cavaliers. And, one guy, remember yesterday, one guy had a 5-team trade. We read his trade. He goes, now stick with me on this. But he had this bizarre 5-team trade that included like 19 players. And it's like, and I said yesterday, well, this is why mock drafts, mock trades, you just roll your eyes, shrug your shoulders, and shake your head, because in many cases, there's just no chance of that happening. Like, why are you even filling up space with a trade? I mean, just 19 different players were involved. It's like it's bad craziness. But it sounds great to do get James Harden, a great scorer, or get Antetokounmpo. But then what does that leave you with the rest of the team? It is a team game. We've seen it, Tenneby. There have been a lot of dynamic duos that have won NBA championships. 2 main cogs, right? You have Jordan and Pippen. Now, there were others, but it was Jordan and Pippen. And then it was
Kobe and Shaq.
And Bird and McHale. And,
Duncan and Robinson.
Right. So the list goes on and on and on of just having 2 guys. And I guess it can be done, but those other 3 starters and your bench players, boy, they got to play pretty well most of the time.
Still got to have role players.
Yeah, and they have to play well, but they can't be like right now, Bones Highland. Bones was brilliant last night. He had 20 points. Game before, I think he had 2. So if you're not getting any consistency, you have a team that the roster's not exactly, this current roster is not exactly the same as last year's, but it's pretty close. Your key players, other than Na. And if that team was good enough to get to the Western Conference Finals, now they got blown out in the Western Conference Finals, but again, then I think, well, if you tweak this a little bit, what everybody tells me is they need somebody else that can play the point, and they need somebody that can provide you some scoring punch off the bench, and maybe that's what they've got here. So, and again, we're not done. I suppose another trade could happen, but we'll keep an eye on that for you. So, the blockbuster trade would be fun and exciting, but I think maybe this might have been cooler heads may have prevailed, and this might be better. And I just did read where the Bucks have basically announced we're not trading out Antetokounmpo until after the season. They field a lot of different offers from a lot of different people, a lot of different teams. Didn't like what was being offered up, and so they've decided to pass on that. We'll break. We'll come back. Peek at the purple on the other side of the break. Right now, Tenneby has got a keyword for us.
Yeah, the fan wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now for a shot of winning. The keyword is money. Enter now. KFAN.com.
Now.
Feel the energy of the state of hockey. Minnesota Wild Hockey is back at Grand Casino Arena. Don't miss the speed, the hits, and the roar of the crowd. Get your tickets now at wild.com/tickets.
We'll get into the Wild a little bit later on in the program. Maybe even the next segment after we do peek at the purple. They win again. I think Boldy set a franchise record, right? The fastest hat trick to start a game in franchise history. Quinnesota assisted on a couple of those, I think. They came back from the 2-goal deficit, most dangerous deficit in hockey. Did they come back from the 2-0 deficit, or did the other team come
Nashville
back?
did.
Nashville did.
Yeah.
And yet we hung on. We were able to win. We were
up 3-1, and then we were down 4-3.
Well, that only makes sense because we went up 3-0. If we would have been behind by 2 goals, 5-3, that would have been crazy. So, yes, so they win 8-1-1, I think, in their last 10. And that's their last game until the Olympics are over, right?
Yes. So
and then,
3 weeks off.
And then how about this? They come back and they face Colorado in their very first game.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what? I think the Wild have a message for the Lanch.
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
Are we only
5 points back. They have 3 games in hand. So it's still quite a separation, but the Wild have kind of creeped slowly closer to Colorado. And Colorado in their last 10 or so have not been great.
But what if those 3 games they lose? They don't get any points, and then
specifically us, yeah.
Then they don't have games in hand anymore. I'm a
if we can take 2 and give none.
I'm a glass half full guy, tend to be. I think it's been established you're a glass half empty guy. Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. This February, fall in love with your home again. Affordable Electric is offering free electrical evaluations all month long. You got that right. Free electrical evaluations all month long. From new lighting and electrical upgrades to repairs and remodels, they do it all. Call today, schedule your free estimate. Be sure to mention you heard us on KFAN. Be sure to mention that. Say, hey, Common told me to get a hold of you. Affordable Electric, quality work, honest pricing, and safety you can trust. 612-331-VOLT or affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. And there, shockingly affordable. Tennessee, obviously we're right now after the Vikings made more news last Friday than they maybe made all season long when they let Kwesi Adofo-Mensah go, and now the Vikings are preparing for free agency, the draft, and all the other off-season business that teams conduct. So there's really not a lot of Viking news out there, though I did find this, Tennessee. List radio is what kind of radio?
It's lazy radio.
And it's only the second segment on Thursday, and I've already gone to lazy radio. I found this on SI.com. Ranking the 59 Super Bowl losers from worst to best.
Okay.
We've got a lot of entries. We've got 4. And I was curious. This is a list I actually was really interested in because I think all 4 Minnesota Viking representatives in those 4 Super Bowls, all in the 70s, they were all pretty good.
Can I guess number 1?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
I think it's, I don't know what year it is, but the Patriots, the year they lost to the Giants, they were undefeated going into the game. They lost the Giants on the David Tyree helmet catch. My guess is they are number 1. Yeah.
I'm only concerned about the Vikings.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, that is. Well, they were, 16-0. That's, yeah. I mean, that by definition. I mean, just because you're undefeated doesn't mean you were the best losing Super Bowl team. But yeah, when you're 16-0 and lose, for sure. These Viking teams, though, I don't think they're as highly regarded, at least 3 of them, as I thought they would be. Checking in at 39, the 39th best Super Bowl losing team would have been the 1974 Minnesota Vikings. They went 10-4 that season. Top players would be your guy Chuck Foreman, my guy Fran Tarkington, and Alan Page. Says few teams are more consistent than the 1970s Vikings. Minnesota won 6 consecutive NFC Central titles and 11 of 13. He also reached 4 big games, including 1974, which was their 3rd trip to the ultimate game. With 10 wins, Minnesota finished in the top 5 in both offensive and defensive scoring, while running back Chuck Foreman led the league with 15 tutties. In the postseason, the Vikings beat the Cards and Rams at Metropolitan Stadium, earning a 2nd consecutive big game appearance. Minnesota's defense allowed only 16 points, but the Vikings lost 16-6 to the Steelers, giving Pittsburgh their very first ever championship. Next on that list, Tennessee, for the Vikings, and we're not going to go through every team on this list because there's 59 of them, but where's the next Viking one? I think it was also in the 30s. Yes, at 33, the 1973 Minnesota Vikings. They went 12-2. Foreman, Tarkenton, and Page, and Bud Grant, again, they're big hitters. In 73, the Vikings rolled to a 12-2 record and easily handled Washington and Dallas, scoring 27 points in each game before facing the defending champion Dolphins in big game VIII. However, Minnesota was manhandled in a 24-7 defeat, while Miami rushed for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they did it with 3 running backs. Closed circuit to Kevin O'Connell. When you're looking at the draft this year, draft 4 running backs. That's what I would suggest. Next on that list for the is 31, the 1976 Minnesota Vikings. Their big players at that, they went 11-2-1. Chuck Foreman, Fran Tarkenton, and Sammy White is listed. Wide receiver Sammy White. It says, after losing 2 of the prior 3 big games, the Vikings regroup once more. Tarkenton threw for 2,961 yards and 70 tutties in a Pro Bowl campaign. Wide receiver Sammy White earned Offensive Rookie of the Year after 906 yards in 10 tutties. Behind a potent offense and the league's second-ranked scoring defense, the Vikings beat Washington and the Rams at Metropolitan Stadium before facing the one-loss Raiders, the Radiators, at the Rose Bowl in Super Bowl XI. Minnesota surrendered 32 points and 429 yards, losing its 4th and final title game in the Bud Grant era. So, according to SI.com, there were 30 other losing Super Bowl teams that were superior in their eyes to 3 of the Vikings teams that lost. There's 1 Vikings team left, Tenneby, and you got to scroll quite a ways. And we all know which team this is. Number 4, the 1969 Minnesota Vikings. They went 12-2. Page, Eller, and Ron Yeri. Says, for much of the 69 season, the Vikes were considered one of the greatest teams in history. They compiled a 12-game winning streak, allowing a league-low 9.5 points per game. The offense also paced the NFL with 27.1 points per game, with quarterback Joe Kapp and his 19 tutties finishing second in MVP voting. In the NFL playoffs, Minnesota beat the Rams, breezed past the Browns to reach big game 4. There, the Vikings were 12-point favorites over the Chiefs, but were handily upset, losing 23-7 at Tulane. 5 turnovers, including 3 lost fumbles, doomed the Vikings, along with 65 toss power trap. So, we got that to hang our hat on, Tenneby. The one thing we can say, of all the big game losers, we have, according to SI.com, the 4th best of those 59 teams that lost.
Boy.
Hang your helmet on that. We'll break. We'll come back. By the way, Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com for all of your electrical needs. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com.
Construction continues on the other side of the door here at Studio A and outside Master Control as well. I don't think they're big fans of the Grum. That's not what they're playing on the radio. It sounds like they're listening to that cowboy restaurant, cowboy radio station, K102. I think I heard a little Toby Keith coming out of that. But that's okay, too. I'll just slash the tires on their trucks later. Programming predicament yesterday. There were 4 choices. Wild Wolves go for men's basketball, and Egan versus Lakeville North and girls section hockey. I watch girls section hockey on my laptop. That's not my laptop. It's the family laptop. And Deuce had a nice call. It was Lakeville North advancing with a 4-1 victory over Egan. Good game. What happened was it was 1-1, and then there wasn't even a lot of time left in the third period. We had to be at least halfway through the third. And then Lakeville North went on the power play, and the floodgates opened. They scored there to go up 2-1. And I don't know if that kind of took the if it's a regular season game, I don't know. But when you're in postseason, when it's win or go home, there's no tomorrow. That whole thing backs against the wall. You got check time. You maybe just lose a little bit of that's pretty demoralizing when you were hanging with the third rank, because I think Egan then would have been 6. So it was a 3-6 matchup, and they were giving Lakeville North everything they wanted. And then it got to be 2-1, and then they scored 2 more goals, and that's all she wrote, as they like to say. Meanwhile, Minnesota Golden Gopher men's basketball team upset at Williams.
Do you believe in miracles?
10th ranked Sparty They tried to give that game away. As a matter of fact, I just decided to check the score on my handheld because I was watching, the girls' hockey game. And all of a sudden I see the Gophers are up, but they're not up by many. They're up by 9 with like a minute and a half to go. And I'm like, wow, Gophers, they're going to beat Sparty. So I click over to the game. Well, they tried to give it away, Tennessee. It was a furious rally by Michigan State. I think they cut it to 2 or 3 at one point with under 30 seconds to go. And you're thinking, right? Okay, you're going to let this one slip away, but they ended up hanging on the Asama guy, the kid from up at Cherry, Minnesota. My boy played with him on a AAU club. He had a couple of clutch free throws down the stretch to win. I have to do my obligatory sticking up for the students that rush the court. There are others that will make fun of that. Oh, where are your standards and this and that thing. It's college kids. It's just for fun. Most of them don't even know who's playing in the game. They don't even know they're playing Michigan State. They don't know any of the kids. It's like you're on campus and you're going, let's go to the game. That's what we do. We'll dress up. It's the barn. So they dress up in their little cow outfits and their little pig outfits and their old horse outfits, right? And they go to the game. And then when you beat a top-ranked team, a top 10 team, you storm the court. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm all for it.
Well, at least they beat a top 10 team in the nation, so.
And that's what I'm saying. So
but I know, but
storm the court
compared to the previous ones. Then those were ranked games, but I put something a little bit more into a top tier opponent.
See, I don't analyze it as much as that. Even if they would have beat Penn State and they want to storm the court, kids just like storming the court. To me, so it doesn't matter. Now, if adults are doing it, if they're storming the Minnesota Timberwolves court, if they were, let's say the other night they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. If they're storming the court, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder, I would be going, really? But they're just college kids, so I'm all for storming the court, regardless of who the competition is. Then your Minnesota Wild, Tennessee, wins 5-4 in OT.
6-5.
6-5 in OT. And we talked sort of about the highs. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10, their last game before they play. Your guy, Boldy, he just set a franchise record for the fastest hat trick in the game. He got scored all 3 goals in the first period. Husey had a couple more assists. Anything else that I'm missing there that we should talk about?
Just the fact that they seem to play more overtime games than anybody else. So the one argument people are going to have about the Wild and their ability to get out of the second round or out of the first round, their counter argument is going to be, well, you don't play 3-on-3 overtime and you don't go to shootouts once you get to the playoffs. You actually got to win those games 5-on-5. They've gained a bunch of extra points just based off their 3-on-3 overtime play and their shootout play. That can mask a little bit some of the 5-on-5 stuff.
Okay. And so they're getting contributions from a lot of different players. And we always talk about small sample size. This is not a small sample size. We talked about how the season started exactly the opposite of last year. Was it last year we came out fast and furious, and then we
Kaprizov got hurt,
and then all of a sudden it was the other way. We started out kind of slow this year, and then all of a sudden they caught fire, and they
won 3 of their first 12 games this year.
Yeah, and
right now they have the second most points in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, they have. They're one of the best teams in hockey now. As we know, things can change in a hurry. I think the only way this would really change would be injuries, right? I mean, I don't think the team's all of a sudden going to, why can't we play at the level we did? But their
best players have relatively been healthy.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge, they've had injuries. They've had times where a bunch of guys are out, but Kaprizov has stayed healthy. Boldy, I think, just missed like 1 4-game stretch since they acquired Quinn Hughes. He's been healthy. Julius Stanek has been relatively healthy. He missed a little bit, but he's been good for a while. So yeah, they can. And like I've said before, they now have so many stars because Kirill Kaprizov is a star. Quinn Hughes is a bigger star. And Matt Boldy's a star. Right? Like, I just had someone on Twitter ask me and Pat Micheletti, if they had the same salary and you could start a franchise with Matt Boldy or Kirill Kaprizov, who would you pick? And the fact that that's even a question now shows you
Oh my gosh! Can you above average at that?
the fact that you got to think about it, and the fact that it's a debate shows you how far Matt Boldy has come along. And
do me a favor. Can you give me the thumbnail sketch of the Matt Boldy bio? Where did he play? Where is he from? His college? How long has he been here? Where is he at? He's not a Minnesotan, right?
No, he's not. I think he's a Boston guy.
Okay,
if I recall.
Drafted by us.
Yes, first round pick. I think they drafted him in the maybe like 12th range, somewhere between like 10 and 15.
Okay.
And at that time, the big debate going into that draft was Boldy or they passed on Cole Caulfield at the time, who Cole Caulfield had been a more
dynamic.
He had been more of a scorer in college than Matt Boldy. And I think this was Fenton who drafted Matt Boldy.
It was Caulfield available when we drafted Boldy?
Yes. Okay. Caulfield ended up going to the Canadians. And Caulfield's been very, very good, too.
Right.
Caulfield's a high-level scorer. But the argument for Boldy was, well, we think his game can fit in the playoffs more because he's a bigger guy. He's got a bigger frame. He's got the long reach. And his all-around game right now is excellent. And I even saw like an NHL Talking Head today tweet that they feel like Matt Boldy is going to be like the guy for Team USA. And Team USA is going to be one of the two best teams there. It should be USA and Canada, or should be your top two on paper.
Right.
And with all the stars USA has, the fact that you're throwing some flowers towards Boldy's way, that says something. And this might be the Olympics. He kind of gets a little bit more national recognition.
How many years is he in the league now? What year is this for him?
Oh, I would guess
4 or 5.
5-ish, maybe.
Okay. Did draft 12th overall?
He's 20. I mean, he's only 24 years old.
Draft 12th overall. Obviously, he was highly regarded. Do you think he has exceeded what most people's expectations would have been of him, or is this like, well, no, when you're drafted 12th, you're supposed to be one of the better players in the National Hockey League? I mean, I know it can be. We see it all the time. We have players that are highly regarded that don't pan out. We have players that maybe don't get drafted nearly as high as that and end up being outstanding hockey players. But is this about where everybody thought he would be? Above, below? What do you think?
It is year 5 for him.
Okay.
Guys drafted number 12 are never slam dunks.
Right. Okay.
Right. Like your franchise changing players typically go in the top 5.
Okay.
Like your Celebrini, that's for San Jose, and Bedard.
And they're celebrating Celebrini.
Oh, he's really good.
Yeah.
Your Connor McDavid's, who's overrated, and your Sidney Crosby's, and your Patrick Kane's, right? I mean, those generational players are typically in the top 5. I mean, Boldy was a first-round pick, and he was drafted in the top half of the draft. I think you have high expectations for that. But the Wild have had many picks in that range before that have not come to fruition and not done well. And like I said, like Boldy's now gone from just being a good quality player in the top 6 to, I mean, is he as good as Kirill Kaprizov? They're different players to a certain extent, but in terms of their impact on the game, at least for this season, there ain't much difference there. They might be. You could argue Boldy's been better this year than Kirill Kaprizov.
Kaprizov got his 9th overtime point. That ties him for the most overtime points by any player in a single season in NHL history. And we have 24 more games to go. He might set that record, right? Because we've played more overtime games than any other team in the NHL this year. So if that is an accurate statistic, I'll go with it. This one says, we will gain Brodin best D lines in the NHL. Do we have the best defensive lines in the National Hockey League?
When healthy, you could argue that. I mean, Quinn Hughes, Brock Faber, probably as good as any duo in the NHL. And one's an elite offensive player, and the other one's a rock solid defensive player who's actually contributing offensively too, and has looked better offensively now that he's playing with Quinn Hughes.
Sure.
He's up to 13 goals. You know, Spurgeon.
I look better working with you.
Are you calling me the Quinn Hughes of the fan?
Well, maybe.
Spurgeon and Brodin both getting up there in age a little bit, and you can never depend on them to be healthy at this stage of their careers because they're not the sturdiest players, but their games haven't fallen off. And, you know, if you're playing a Connor McDavid type, you still want Jonas Brodin on the ice. Jared Spurgeon is savvy, smart player, scored the
Cunning
game
and guile.
scored the game winner last night and can skate. And then your third pairing, depending on the health, you've had some issues back there. But Bogo and Jake Middleton.
Bogo, who
that's Bogosian. They call him Bogo.
I got that. I got to write that down.
Yeah,
Bogo.
Jake Middleton. Basically,
I'm a bigger fan.
His entire time here has been in your top four and has been paired up with Jared Spurgeon and has been fine and can go up against top players. Well, now he's on your third pairing. I can't imagine there's too many better third pairing defensemen than Jake Middleton out there. And even Damon Hunt, when he's been in as a seventh defenseman's looked good. So, yeah, I mean, defensively, now the question is going to be with that group because we've seen it in the playoffs before.
Right.
Playoffs are a different type of style of game. It's more physicality. There's less space. Spurgeon's not the biggest guy. Brodin's not the biggest guy. Quinn Hughes is not the biggest guy. So I will be curious to see how those three if they have to handle a bigger, tougher team. It doesn't matter. We're so skilled. We're gonna have the puck on our stick the whole time anyway, so we don't even need to play. We don't even need to play defense.
I like that. Do you skate 3D lines or 4?
3, typically.
Yeah, typically.
Sometimes they have a seventh defenseman in there based on it, but
okay.
They play 3, and then usually the third pairing is hanging around, 12, 13, 14 minutes. And then your Quinn Hughes types will start approaching 25 minutes. But really what you want for the Wild, what you want on that third pairing is guys who can kill penalties.
It's funny since the trade happened, since a week after, I haven't even thought of Rossi anymore. How's he doing?
I have not. I know the Vancouver as a team has struggled. I haven't really followed along specific individual.
I know that Rossi
I think he might be hurt too.
I know when he was traded, I don't think you were as big a Rossi guy as I was. I think you liked him. He was a good player, but it looks like
I liked him in the draft. That's who I wanted them to draft, and then I've slowly been turned off. I mean, he's fine.
Right.
He's a fine player.
Just not worth the kind of money that he wanted, right?
Well, I just don't know if he's, a top center on a Stanley Cup winning team. That's where Rossi's only played 8 games, so I think he's been injured.
If I'm not mistaken, Boldy and the Rossi were down in Iowa at the same time, and all the talk was about Rossi. There really wasn't as much talk about Boldy, and look at it now. Not right? Is that correct? I mean, there was more buzz about Rossi than there was.
I don't know if there was more buzz, maybe equal buzz. Well, Zibuliam is on injured reserve as well. So,
does Tenneby think teams are starting to target Quinn Hughes more? Does he mean like go after him and try to rough him up?
How do you target him?
I don't know.
He's too elusive. I've yet to see him get hit.
Really?
No, you could maybe, those plays in front of your own net when there's a rebound and, you're trying to cover it up. Like that's probably the one area they can go after him a little bit. But I almost called him Zibuliam. When Quinn Hughes has the puck, he doesn't get hit because he's too quick. He's too fast. You got to worry about skating with him before you can worry about hitting him.
Boldy should be the front runner to wear the C when and if Spurgeon were to retire or the Wild move on from him. He drives the pace of play, constantly competes, and always waits to fist bump the players off the ice between periods. Well, that is kind of what a captain does, though, right?
That is such a Minnesota thing, though. We get so fascinated over who wears the C.
You don't. I know it's a wet blanket Wednesday, but leave that to me. That's twice now you wet blanketed the whole thing. The other one was, well, no, I don't want them to really storm in the court if they beat, 18th ranked.
I didn't say that. You're taking me out of context.
You kind of said it.
No, I was actually justifying last night's court storming. If you want to compare court stormings, last night was more justified because you played a better team. You played a top 10 team.
That's still a wet blanket.
And it's a historic coach that we never beat. So I was actually justifying it.
I think most people are taking it as a wet blanket. That's what I'm getting. People think you wet blanketed. That wasn't even my idea because I didn't even think about it. That's what somebody said. Text message said, I just love this. Hold on. It's so good. Here it is. What a dynamic change there on the court storming conversation. It was Tenna that was the wet blanket. Just a wet blanket. Because I would never wet blanket anything like that.
No.
Well, I'm excited. Now, the Wolves are another story. They rallied furiously last night. They did what Michigan State did, except they did what Michigan State wasn't able to do. They were able to overcome a pretty big deficit and beat Toronto. It's a pretty good club, too. I think they're over 500. Again, I read the Gamer. I didn't see it. I just missed it. I forgot that it was on. And because I usually don't miss a game. And I read the Gamer in the Fish Wrap Factory West Side and said, once again, the team just didn't want to play defense early on in the game. They did the old, what's that cliche about they played that, the Ole defense, where the bullfighter, where he's got the cape and he just lets the bull run by. And that's apparently what they did last night. But then they clamped down in the fourth quarter. Ant took over both offensively and defensively. And if you'll remember, the quote from Ant after the victory over the Thunder, he said, I think it just starts with me on the defensive end. Like, if I'm guarding at a high level, I think everybody's going to do it. So I just got to make my mind up and choose to do it, which is, like I said, it's always tough, but I got to figure out a way to do it. He did it last night. He got over the toughness of it, and he did it. And he led by example again. We talked about the Bones Highland character. He's hot and cold, right? The last game, I think he had 2 points off the bench. Last night he had 20. Here's what he said. I love this. He says, I feel amazing. I ain't going to lie. I feel amazing, bro. So he's feeling good.
He's in awe of himself.
He's in awe of himself. And he also said, like I said before, man, it's one of those where if we want to do it, we're really good, bro. Like, we're really, really good when we play this type of way. Just got to be a whole team mindset and not just a 2-3 guys mindset. We all got to bring it every night. We can't leave each other just out. We can't leave each other just out there. And again, he is sort of saying what many of the players on the team have been saying all season long, is that it seems to be, it's almost an indifference to winning and losing or wanting to play hard from game to game. And, I guess it's working though, because they're where are they now are they third or fourth in the standings? Can you look up the standings in the West right now? If the playoffs were to start today, I think they might be 3 or 4. Hell, they might be 2 as far as
they're 5.
They're 5, okay.
But they're a game out of 3.
Okay, so
they're also a half game out of 7.
Well, yeah. So there you go. So it's a log jam there in the middle. But I mean, I guess because there's nothing I can do about it, but continue to harp on it, and it doesn't get anybody to change. They're not listening to me over at the Bullseye. And maybe that's a good thing, but I just again, it's the quotes you hear about, if we just all play, Highland said, Bones said it, if we just all put the mindset together, we're all going to play real hard and play connected. That's another one of my favorite NBA words. We're connected. I got the pronunciation tenement. Somebody helping me out here. I just love when the listeners know that I got a lot of issues. Of the new, the player we just traded for, the guy for the Bulls. I'll look at it. Oh, Ayo. He says it's Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo Dosunmu. And my guess is he's a guy that can play with his back to the basket. He's a high energy guy, can play above the rim and do all those things. And he's got he's brilliant on the 3-cone drill. So we'll see how it works. We'll take a break. We'll come back when we do. 5-3-4-10. What you got?
The games have begun.
Got you.